The lock disengaged with a heavy click. The sound, unfamiliar and unwelcome, jolted me from my stupor. For what felt like an eternity, the hum of the screens had been my only companion, the faces flickering across them, my only connection to the outside world. Now, a door, previously sealed shut, stood ajar, a sliver of light cutting through the dimness of my confinement. Fear, cold and paralyzing, gripped me. The room, my prison, had also been my sanctuary. It held no threats, only the sterile comfort of predictability. The unknown beyond the door filled me with dread. What lay beyond? Was it a trick, another layer of this elaborate charade? I remained rooted to the spot, torn between the fear of the unknown and a flicker of hope I dared not acknowledge. The screens, once my sole focus, now seemed to mock me. The faces on them, oblivious to my plight, continued their silent performance. I tore my gaze away, my heart pounding in my chest. The open door beckoned, promising freedom or perhaps a more insidious torment. My breath caught in my throat. I had to choose, stay imprisoned in this technological cage or face the shadows lurking beyond. With trembling hands I rose from the chair, each creak seeming deafening in the oppressive silence. I took a step towards the door, then another, my legs heavy and uncertain, as if relearning the act of walking. The sliver of light widened, revealing a darkened hallway beyond, and with that step I knew there was no turning back. The hallway stretched before me, a desolate corridor bathed in the cold, sterile glow of fluorescent lights. The air hung heavy and still, thick with the silence of abandonment. My footsteps echoed in the emptiness, each one a hammer blow against the silence. The walls, painted a sickly pale green, seemed to close in, suffocating me. As I walked deeper into the hallway, I noticed doors lining either side, identical to the one I had just exited. A cold dread washed over me. Each door, I realized, held another prisoner, another soul trapped in this labyrinthine nightmare. Driven by a morbid curiosity, I paused before one of the doors, pressing my ear against its cold, metallic surface. Faint sounds emanated from within, the murmur of voices, the hypnotic drone of the screens. I imagined the occupant, their face illuminated by the flickering light, their eyes glazed over with resignation. I moved from door to door, each one a grim testament to the vastness of my prison. The silence was broken only by the sounds of captivity, the whispers of despair echoing through the empty corridor. This place, I realized with chilling certainty, was not a refuge, but a tomb. I rounded a bend in the corridor and stopped short. Standing in the middle of the hallway was a small child, no more than 5 years old, her eyes wide with fear. She clutched a ragged doll in her arms, her tiny body trembling. The sight of her, so small and vulnerable in that desolate place, shattered the numbness that had enveloped me. I knelt before her, my heart aching with a tenderness I had forgotten I possessed. "Don't be afraid," I said, my voice hoarse from disuse. "I won't hurt you." She stared up at me, her eyes searching mine, and slowly, a hesitant smile spread across her face. It was the most beautiful thing I had seen in what felt like a lifetime. "What's your name?" I asked gently. "Lily," she whispered, clutching her doll tighter. "Lily," I repeated, the name feeling foreign yet strangely familiar on my lips. "Where are your parents, Lily?" She shook her head, her eyes welling up with tears. "Don't know," she murmured. In that moment, I knew I couldn't leave her alone in this desolate place. She became my reason to hope, a beacon of light in the encroaching darkness. Taking her small hand in mine, I vowed to protect her, to shield her from the horrors of this place. We continued down the corridor, Lily's small hand clutching mine. The air grew colder, the fluorescent lights flickering erratically, casting long, grotesque shadows on the walls. Finally, we reached the end of the hallway. A large steel door stood before us, a single red light pulsating above it like a watchful eye. I hesitated, my hand hovering over the door handle. A primal fear gripped me, warning me not to proceed. But the thought of returning to that sterile prison, of subjecting Lily to that soulless existence, spurred me forward. I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. A blast of cold, stale air washed over us, carrying with it the acrid tang of smoke and decay. Blinking against the sudden brightness, I shielded Lily's eyes with my hand. We stepped out into a blinding white landscape. The ground beneath our feet crunched with the remnants of shattered concrete and twisted metal. The air was thick with dust, obscuring the horizon in a hazy whiteout. Above, a pale, sickly sun struggled to penetrate the oppressive grayness of the sky. The world outside was a wasteland, a desolate expanse of rubble and decay. The remnants of buildings rose from the wreckage like skeletal fingers pointing accusingly at the sky. The air was heavy with the silence of absence, the silence of a world devoid of life. We picked our way through the debris, careful not to cut ourselves on the jagged edges of broken glass and twisted metal. Lily, her small hand still clutching mine, remained eerily quiet, her eyes wide with awe and terror. We scavenged for food and water, our search a desperate race against the setting sun. We found a half-empty bottle of water in the back of a rusted-out car, its contents warm and stale but drinkable. Later, we came across a dented can of peaches, its label faded and peeling but its contents still edible. As darkness fell, we sought shelter in the skeletal remains of a building, huddling together for warmth amidst the rubble. The wind howled through the broken windows, carrying with it the sounds of a world gone mad. Days turned into weeks. We wandered through the wasteland, our hope dwindling with each passing hour. We encountered others, survivors like ourselves, their faces etched with fear and desperation. Some were kind, offering us what little food and water they could spare. Others were driven by desperation, their humanity eroded by the harsh realities of survival. One evening, as the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the ruined landscape, we saw it. A light, flickering in the distance. It was a small thing, a mere pinprick of hope in the vast darkness, but it was enough. We made our way towards the light, our pace quickening with each step. As we drew closer, we could hear the faint sounds of music, of laughter. It was a sound we had almost forgotten, a sound that spoke of community, of hope, of life. We stumbled into a clearing and stopped, our eyes widening in astonishment. Before us stood a collection of makeshift shelters, cobbled together from salvaged materials. A fire burned brightly in the center of the clearing, casting a warm glow over the faces of the people gathered around it. They welcomed us with open arms, these survivors of the apocalypse. They fed us, clothed us, and gave us shelter. They listened to our story, our tale of isolation and escape, with empathy and understanding. Lily, who had been withdrawn and silent since our escape from the underground prison, blossomed in this new environment. She played with the other children, her laughter ringing out across the clearing, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. We joined their community, contributing our skills and our labor to the collective effort of rebuilding. We learned to farm the land, to purify water, to defend ourselves against the dangers that still lurked in the wasteland. Life was hard, unforgiving, but it was also filled with a sense of purpose, of belonging, of hope. We had escaped the isolation of our digital prisons and found solace in the warmth of human connection. The world we knew was gone, destroyed by forces we could barely comprehend. But, in its ashes, we were building something new, something better. We were building a community founded on compassion, on cooperation, on the belief that even in the darkest of times, hope could still bloom.